Hi everyone, and welcome back to another music reaction video. I appreciate you stopping by. And today's one we're checking out is The Devil Cried by Black Sabbath. And this is another suggestion from Mike G4211, so thank you so much for the suggestion. And this track is interesting because it's actually a duo track with Black Sabbath from 2007, which from today seems like a long time ago, but in the relative grand scheme of things when it comes to Black Sabbath and Dio's career, this is actually a very late track in their discography, which I actually didn't even know that Dio and Sabbath made new tracks as late as 2007. I know that they kind of had like a little reunion slash reformation as Heaven and Hell around this time too, and they did like a tour and everything. But when you think of Dio and Sabbath, you usually think of the 1980s, right? So, and I think they did like 3 albums together in 1980s, something like that, before Black Sabbath changed the vocalists again. But I didn't know they actually recorded some new tracks, and apparently this is one of the tracks they recorded back in 2007. So I'm quite excited to see what this is like because I haven't actually reacted to a Black Sabbath track as recent as this. So I wanted to see if their sound kind of changed. I wanted to see if how Dio's voice has held up over all this time. I'm sure it's held up very well. He's one of the most legendary vocalists in metal. But yeah, anyway, let's get right into it. And this is Black Sabbath, The Devil Cried from the record The Dio Years. And then what did Jeff Walker?
Let's rock.
Okay, first things first, the production on this song sounds a lot more modern. The guitar tone, it definitely does sound like a lot more modern guitar tone. Like if you compare this to a song like, I want to say like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, which is probably my favorite Sabbath track now, or one of my favorites. The guitar tone here just sounds way more modern compared to that era. Maybe even a little bit more compressed, I would say. I know this is no way near as modern as like the metal today, but either way, the guitar tone does sound way different. And that's the first thing I noticed upon listening to these first few seconds. Oh, okay. I think I can tell Dio's voice has aged a little bit, but it's still super good. Like, it's definitely a Dio signature singing style for sure, but I think his voice, you can notice very slight, like, aging in his voice. Not in a bad way, of course. His voice still sounds excellent and superb as it always has, but I guess if I were to say it aged like fine wine in a way. Also, it sounds like he's singing a little bit lower a little bit, possibly. Yeah, the vibrato on his voice is still so nice. I like the way he kind of pronounces this well right here with that vibrato trailing at the end. Yeah. Oh, okay. A different drummer too. Man, I still can't get over the production of this song. It almost doesn't sound like Black Sabbath. Like the riffs are Black Sabbath and everything and Tony, but and the vocals of course and everything else, but the production just doesn't sound like Black Sabbath. Um, it just sounds way too modern. Like when I listen to Black Sabbath, I always hear like the production of that era, like the way metal sounds when it came out in that era. Um, but this production just sounds like so modern for Black Sabbath. I just can't get over it. But let's listen to this again.
There are whispers between the screams that this deed can be done. Even sinners must dream, and I can be the one to make the devil cry.
Really powerful vocals though. That's a nice riff right there, by the way. Like palm muted and then a power chord, and then at the end of that riff, it kind of trails with like a bend on the low string, I think. Yeah, nice power chord right there. That's nice bend, I think on the low E string.
Just clever. It's the law on the other side. Just a tear lets you run. And though many have tried, I know I'll be the one to make the devil cry.
Nice grit in his voice right there. Those bends. Can listen to that Tony Iommi guitar solo again. Classic Tony Iommi guitar solo, even in like this even in these later years of Black Sabbath. Can listen to that again. Leading in with a strong bend, and then I think it's kind of like Tony Iommi's classic guitar solo songwriting, where he kind of weaves in a lot of shreddy licks in between some very powerful bends right there. I'm gonna listen to that again. Very, very nice. Yeah, unison bend to lead in. Very evil sounding guitar solo. Tempo change a little bit. Yeah, nice shredding. The second half of the guitar solo with those bends, it sounded very like bluesy, very Tony Iommi classic. I have to say classic blues scales that he's kind of employing. I feel like it's definitely the vibe I get from that guitar solo. But yeah, very, very nice. And then that right there almost sounded like a dive bomb, but as far as I know, Tony doesn't play with a whammy bar. I've never seen him play with a whammy bar or do dive bombs in general. So I'd be surprised if that was actually a dive bomb, but it almost sounded like a dive bomb a little bit. Maybe it was like a pinch harmonic on a higher string or something like that. But yeah, very cool.
At last my time has come. I must not give him pleasure. I can be the one chance, or burn forever. So I told him about
Ooh, okay. The lyrical content of this one is once again about like a person like close to dying. I think he says, "Alas, my time has come. I must not give him pleasure." I'm gonna guess he's talking about the devil. Very common Black Sabbath themes again. Wow, Black Sabbath has always stayed true to their lyrical content because I feel like I mention this every single Black Sabbath music video I react to. That the lyrical content has something to do with like a person dying and Judgment Day and kind of the stuff they see when they die or what happens after they die and the devil and things like that. So, yeah, of course, staying consistent with the lyrics again.
I must not give him pleasure. I can be the one chance, or burn forever. So I told him about my pain and the life I've been through. He just smiled and the laughter came. Then I told him that I love you, and the devil cried. Tears from his eyes. I saw fire, and the devil cried.
Nice line. Those bends again. It's a fade out. Ooh, I like that. That's like he's using his neck pickup a little bit near the end there. It becomes like a little bit of a warming sound. Let's listen to that again. On the guitar. A little bit sounds like a neck pickup kind of change right there. But yeah, okay. Well, that was The Devil Cried by Black Sabbath. Overall, a very Black Sabbath sounding track. It's like not a bad track by any means. It's a solid track from Black Sabbath, especially considering when this was released. But I have to say, I don't think it really has the magic that older Black Sabbath eras do. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, but when I go back and when I listen to their catalog from the older years, or from like when they were in their prime, I guess you could call it, I just feel like it felt more inspired in a way. Like the songwriting was much more unique, and there's a lot of different sections. You had like your acoustic sections when you go back to songs like "Symptom of the Universe." When you listen to that songwriting, um, like it just sounds so unique. And that's not just saying that because in the time that it came out, it was unique, but in general, even if it came out like these days, that song, I feel like that would be a unique song. But this one, it just doesn't feel like it had that magic that they used to have a little bit. Um, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. to Black Sabbath at all the musicians here were probably in their later years, definitely not in the prime, and it's harder to write like more original stuff as your career goes on, you know? And they're definitely in their older years and everything. So um I don't mean to say that as like criticism or something, but that's just kind of what I felt after after hearing this track. I felt like there was one main riff that was a pretty good riff, pretty solid riff, but overall, other than that riff and the two solos that came, the track just felt a little bit the creativity the track just felt a little bit not as creative as the tracks I've listened to in the past from their prime year, songs like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath or NIB or as I mentioned before, Symptom of the Universe, or Into the Void. Like those songs just have so many different riffs and sections that it just always brings a unique flavor every time you listen to it. But I feel like this is a song that if I listen to it multiple times later, it might get kind of like bland in a way. But overall, the vocals were very good too. As always, I'm very impressed by Dio's vocals, and they definitely have held up over these many years. Um, and I have to say, I'm not a big fan of the production. Like, I don't know if it's I'm just saying this because it's Black Sabbath and I expect like older production from Black Sabbath when I listen to them, or like less compressed in a way. But this just it just felt a little bit like too modern. And I'm not sure if I'm just saying that because it's Black Sabbath again. But there's some other bands I listen to um where I try to listen to their new album and stuff that came out, like Megadeth, their self-titled final album that came out last year, I think. Or no, it was earlier this year. But I also sometimes felt like the production just sounded like too compressed and modern. Like I'm definitely a bigger fan of like the older production of the 90s and 80s and 70s, I have to say. It just felt more raw and natural, but modern metal today, sometimes it just feels a little bit over processed. And I felt that a little bit with this song, I can't lie. Like it just doesn't feel right to hear Tony Iommi's guitar riffs with that much like modern metal guitar tone and processing. So it just feels kind of weird. But yeah. Anyway, overall, still a solid track from Black Sabbath. Glad to see they still made music this late in their career and everything. So yeah, and thank you so much to Mike G 4211 again for the suggestion, and I appreciate you watching this video.